Hi, Tom. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm really excited to deep dive into what LeadSmart is offering and how you decided to turn an idea into a business. The first thing that I was really curious to hear about is that back in 2018, you could have been thinking of building your business on any type of platform, maybe building it from scratch.
Yeah.
Completely DIY.
Yeah.
And you decided to do it on Salesforce. Can you walk me through what was the thought process at the time?
Yeah, well, it was a head start. Our customer base is manufacturers and wholesale distributors.
Mhm.
They don't have large IT teams. They're lean on their IT teams, but they're also very cognizant about the importance of security, liability, performance, right? So we were like, well, why do we want to spend all of this time building all this plumbing
Yeah.
and all of this infrastructure, which really isn't, it's kind of a necessity, but it doesn't really provide value to the customer on what they're trying to do. Let's focus our time on building value and features and tools and capability to help them grow their business, but at the same time have the infrastructure that's got the power of the Salesforce cloud and the platform underneath it. So it was kind of a no-brainer when we really looked at it.
I like what you're saying with the plumbing idea. I use this metaphor fairly often when I talk about, the idea of like starting and iterating on your business idea.
Right. I mean, we could have
The
spent
plumbing.
millions of dollars and lots of time building the infrastructure and the plumbing and not had anything to sell or bring to market to the customer. So it was really a head start or a jump start to bring stuff to market.
And fast forward today, Salesforce now has Agentforce as the Agentic operating system. Now, how did this pay out? Thinking about you going into the decision of building on Salesforce and a few years later having the Agentic capabilities available to you. How do you take advantage of it? Did this bet pay out?
Well, and again, it's the same logic, right? Or the same rationale. Our customers want AI, they want agents, but they also want to feel comfortable that they're secure, trustworthy. They're not pulling data that people aren't supposed to see or whatever, right? So you have in fact, if anything, you may have a higher bar that you have to overcome from a security and from just a data integrity perspective with AI than you did with traditional SaaS. We're like, okay, again, are we going to build our whole new agent infrastructure ourselves, or can we take advantage of the framework and then be able to build on top of that? So we're focusing our effort on value versus infrastructure on the same thing. And what we've learned this week and what we've been focusing on this week is I think it's going to turn out to be a good bet because there's so much investment that's going on from the Salesforce side into the Agentforce infrastructure, the trust layer, how you test the agents, how you validate that they're actually doing what you want them to do. I mean, that's huge, right? And to try and do that yourself would take a lot of money and a lot of time. And again, this is very important for our customers.
And so when you think about the problem that you're solving, what were the first use cases where you felt like having an agent was directly solving your customers' challenges?
So our customers, just to put a little context, they sell, they're a wholesale distributor. They may have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of products that they're selling to tens or thousands of customers. And their goal is to sell more and more, increase the wallet share, increase what they call the white space, which is what are the areas that we're not selling where we could be selling to a customer and so forth. That's very hard to do, sorting through reports or list views or
massive amounts of data.
Massive amounts of data that it's hard to connect the dots. And even if you had the ability to do it, it takes time and all of that. So if I can build an agent that can quickly go in and say, hey, show me, hey, we're selling for this account. Let's take a specific account. They're buying HVAC and plumbing, but they're not buying electrical and safety equipment, and they should be. Can you tell me the other things that they should be buying? What are companies or accounts that maybe are at risk? All of that through a conversational or through an AI framework. That's huge, rather than trying to build reports or, even business intelligence. A lot of these companies have BI, but they're still difficult to kind of get the right data to the salesperson on the street to know how to work with the customer and communicate with the customer.
So let me see if my rephrasing does resonate. We're interested in having the information more delivered as, hey, you should be considering doing this thing rather than delivering a dashboard and say, hey, now figure it out.
I'll give you a great example, right? You're a salesperson. I mean, these companies some of them have hundreds of salespeople. They go out to visit a customer, or they're going to go visit a customer.
Okay.
Again, they may have hundreds of customers with thousands of products. I want to go in and say, okay, I'm going to go to a meeting with a customer. What should I be talking to them about? What product or product categories should I be introducing to them that they're not buying that they could be? Maybe there's a credit problem or a receivable problem, or who knows, maybe they had a problem with the delivery or something like that. I want to know that walking into the meeting, and then I want my account plan or my visit plan created for me in 5 seconds, right? Rather than having to go through a bunch of reports and figure out what I'm going to say and why and all that stuff. That's like not productive and not practical.
So now the persona who's using LeadSmart is the salesperson. The salesperson log into their environment and they get some proactive information delivered to them by an agent. Get it
The
right?
agent, right? The agent. I mean, they can look at this across accounts, so they have they have their territory or whatever. Hey, what accounts should I be potentially focusing on because they're not buying this and they are buying this? Or if I'm going to visit an account or a set of accounts, how do I know what are my notes that I want to do? How do I act more as a consultant to that account rather than just show up and say, hey, how are you? What can I do to help? Right? Those are all things that elevate our customer, elevate their sales team, makes them more productive and more valuable to the customer.
And for the past 48 hours, you've been able to experiment with our hybrid reasoning engine, which we introduced with Agent Script. How did it connect with the use cases that you're looking at? When is the right time to harness the creativity of those large language models by some deterministic rules? Did you find some use cases that really resonated well with those capabilities?
Yeah, because, and you bring up a good point, right? There is some data that we just want to get deterministically. We want to query, get the data, whatever, but now maybe we want to analyze that data. Maybe we want, in fact, one of the things we built was taking a sample SOP or best practice, incorporated into the agent. And so the agent was responding on what do I do? What do I say? Even sending like, hey, I want to go visit a customer, what email should I create and send to that customer? That's not just, hey, I want to come see you, but actually has relevance based upon their account and their piece there. So matching the sort of traditional structured data, then able to incorporate the sort of best practice, the unstructured data, using all those together, and then having a framework not only to build it, but to debug it and to look at it is really, really important. Because then we have confidence, we know it's running. We know it's not going to hallucinate and come back with a bunch of weird data.
So you were able to identify some patterns in which here we want to make sure that it's going toward one set of answers and be able to stay in control.
That's right.
So here I'm like going back on this first question, but now more with the agentic perspective in mind. You decided to bet on the Salesforce platform in 2018. Now that you have this incredible pace, the agentic innovation that are coming in, how does it feel having decided to bet on the Salesforce platform rather than building it yourself?
I know what we've been able to accomplish even since 2018 with a small team, and with the value and the level of what we've been able to provide to our customers. We never would have been able to do that, trying to do that all on our own. Or we would have had to raise, lots and lots of money and spend a lot of money to kind of reinvent the wheel. So it's the same thing here. I think obviously it was a good bet there. It's clearly is looking like this is going to be a good bet going forward. Salesforce is investing millions or tens of millions, right, into the AI infrastructure. You're all in on the AI infrastructure. So let's leverage that and take advantage of that and focus our time on providing things that are really valuable for our customer, but at the same time secure and safe and reliable and that they can have trust behind. So I think it's going to be a good win-win all the way around.
Awesome. And now do you have some new ideas that sparked from this exploration that you did, this deep dive that you had for the past few days? Some areas that you maybe were not expecting, agents to play a role in your use cases?
What we learned or what we've come up with is, so in our customers, there's probably a dozen or so personas that are involved in one way or the other in these companies and how they operate and how they go to market and how they sell and so forth. So what we believe is we'll be able to create a series of agents for each persona so that we can increase the number of personas that are using our system. And, whether you're marketing or inside sales or outside sales or operations or whatever the case may be, we can build a portfolio of agents for them. And I think it's going to be a game changer in the industry.
So those agents won't be like broad purpose. They will be really tailored for some
those
very
personas.
specific personas.
Yeah.
Understood.
And there's overlap between some of them. But if I'm a manager, there's data that I want. If I'm a branch manager or a regional manager, there's data and information I want that's different than, say, an outside sales rep who's responsible for just a territory.
So now, my last question, if you had to meet this founder, this builder who's thinking about building this agentic business and is aiming to DIY, build it on their own, what would be your word of advice?
It's going to be way more difficult and expensive than you think to get something commercially in production ready. It may be quick to build a prototype or even an MVP, but if you're selling to businesses that are obviously conscientious about their security and all the infrastructure that's required, and let's face it, right, if your agents start hallucinating or providing bad data, or somebody gets payroll information when they're not supposed to, what's going to happen? Somebody's going to, oh, this agent stuff doesn't work. This AI stuff doesn't work. We got to pull the plug. So we've got to make sure that we don't have kind of a zero tolerance for those issues that are there. And so, yeah, if you try and do this on your own, you're going to be spending a lot of time on that and not on the sexy stuff that you really want to take advantage of.
The business value.
That's right. The business value.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate the time that we spent together, and I'm looking forward to see how this innovation lab is going to transform into new capabilities.
Well, thanks a lot. It was a fun trip.
Thank you very much.